Hi, and welcome back to David Pattinson's Accused Friends. Today I want to talk about an opt-out provision for the NHS, and I know we've kind of reached the point in this country now where any dissent or criticism or suggestions of alternatives to the NHS is akin to a criminal offence. But for as long as we're still able to make suggestions about alternatives to government healthcare, I'm going to do it. And I think throughout this crisis, what we've realised is, and I did a video on this several weeks ago, that the protecting the NHS was the sort of the root cause of the lockdown. It was the main justification for it. We just sort of thought before in our lives that the NHS was an exchange between, taxpayer funding and healthcare benefits for the recipients. But now we know that the British people have an obligation to protect the NHS when it's in a vulnerable state. And as we come out of this lockdown, there's criticism of people for interacting with other people, because if people get the virus, we're putting NHS healthcare professionals at risk, and we can't do that because we got to protect the NHS. And so I think there's an inevitable groundswell of public thought and potentially support for alternatives to the NHS. Now, we have a lot of private healthcare in the country, as people know, and recognition of private healthcare has been conspicuous in its absence from these clapathons. We do these clapathons on a Thursday. People want to thank the NHS, but there's no real mention of thanking private healthcare as well. And a lot of private healthcare providers have given up their facilities or, have gone to work, within the NHS system, either on a fee basis or a volunteer basis to help with, help people with the coronavirus. But getting back to my main point of this video, which is about the opt-out provision, and the way that would work is you would opt out of the benefits of the NHS, and you would then also opt out of the costs. You wouldn't have to pay your healthcare contribution in your tax to get the NHS benefit, and then you would also not be liable to protect the NHS in the what I believe is the inevitable likelihood of future lockdowns. So when we have future lockdowns, if you've opted out of the NHS, you have no obligation to protect it. You can go about your life, you can interact with other opt-out people, and if you guys get sick, you'll pick up the tab yourself, in the private system, or not, or maybe you just won't get any healthcare at all, but that's your risk to take as a free citizen. And any criticism of these ideas I'm putting out in these videos is usually going to come along the lines of, you're trying to take away our NHS. And I'm not trying to take away anyone's NHS. I'm happy for people to stay in the NHS system. If you like the NHS and you want to stay in it, that's totally fine with me. But for people that do not want to be inside the NHS or want to have ideas for alternatives, I want to speak for those people. And my position on the lockdown is exactly the same. If you want to self-isolate, you can self-isolate from now until eternity, as far as I'm concerned, and I'm happy for you to do it. But again, for the people that do not want to self-isolate, I've wanted to speak up for them, and opposing the total violation of British civil liberties, which I'm going to continue to do. Free citizens should have the choice about how they want to live their lives, and there's no authority in our government to override people's civil liberties and saying you've got all this great healthcare benefit that we're giving you, so you have an obligation to protect it or support it or whatever. So going back to the opt-out provision and how it would work, the way it would work would be in the form of, either health insurance, but better than that is health savings accounts. And this would directly incentivize healthy people. If you're an unhealthy person who has, 4 hamburgers and 3 packets of cigarettes every day without fail, you're better off in the NHS system. But if you're a healthy person, a gym goer, physically fit, if you're putting aside £250 to £500 a month over a decade, that's going to build up to, 30 to 50,000. You can earn interest on that money. And, over a longer period of your life, you can get it over 100,000, 150,000 or whatever it is. And, you can borrow against that for your healthcare needs. And of course, over time, with innovation and healthcare technology and food technology, the cost of healthcare is going to decline. So if you've got a big surplus in that health savings account of yours, you can use that to pass down to your descendants, at the end of your life. And it's going to constantly remind you and incentivize you to stay healthy. You're not going to be punished for being healthy like you are within the NHS system. And, I think it's the way to go for a lot of people. If you're young and healthy and hardworking and dynamic, and, you want to be rewarded for your healthy behavior rather than punished for your healthy behavior in the NHS system. Contrastingly, if you're an unhealthy person, like I've said, if you're an older person, and typically healthcare costs are gonna come to older people, you should definitely stay in the NHS system if you don't mind having your civil liberties violated every so often, because it's a net benefit for you. Now, obviously, it doesn't matter how healthy you are. There's an inevitable possibility that you could be struck down at any time. You could be involved in a car accident, you could catch a virus, you could come up with some sort of health condition that's expensive to rectify. But you're covered with your health savings account in the event of these scenarios. And you might actually also luck out where you may not be struck down by anything, and you'll lead a relatively healthy life. I consider myself as someone that's a healthy person. I'm almost never ill, and I really can't remember the last time I went to a doctor. When I lived in the United States for 6 years, I didn't have any health insurance. I didn't have anything. I did go to the doctor a couple of times, and they have like walk-in facilities where you just pay $100 for a consultation, and they'll write you up a prescription, and you pay for that, and then you're on your way. So it's not a big healthcare is not a big expense if you are healthy and if you are not struck down. And of course, the big argument against this video, or against the suggestions that I'm making for health savings accounts, is the NHS is such a great thing. No one's going to go for this. Everyone's going to want to stay in the NHS system, and that's great. I mean, if it's about the reason I'm making this suggestion is about choice for the British people, because before this lockdown, we did not know that we had an obligation to protect the NHS. We thought the NHS was there to protect us. So in this different environment, I think there needs to be choice for the citizens to say, okay, well, NHS is great. Some people want to go with that. Other people think their civil liberties are more important, their livelihoods more important, their freedom is more important, and they're happy to take the risk on coming out the NHS and dealing with their healthcare problems on their own. And I want to provide ideas for those people. So I hope you like this video. Please subscribe to the channel, and look forward to chatting with you here again soon.